Saudis kasi would advertise. But it was not heavily advertised. I advertised kasi had the Chinese known about it. But it was a furious bidding din. It took us mga 3 minutes to 4 minutes. It's furious yun kasi few seconds yun, 30,000 pounds. Nagsimula sa 30. So, Justice Carpio talked to different private museums and public museums and none of them was really interested. And then he said, you know, man, you're a Velarde. Dapat bilhin mo to. We only need somebody to buy it because National Museum will buy it naman at cost. Itong ang agreement, if this is what I tell my friends, anybody who buys it, they just sell it to the museum at cost para mailagay sa museum. Parang kailangan natin mga 2 weeks before November 4. Because we've been covering him on this issue, live streaming. And in the past, when he delivered his speeches, Murillo Velarde map or Murillo map, our crew were there and they were saying, sir, may Velarde map daw doon kay Justice Carpio. So finally, I was able to sit down with him. He mentioned it na may bidding. Yeah, it's private museums, London. Via phone lang Some people were there, but I don't want to go there for the bidding. Birthday pa ng mother ko. Sabi ko, magandang magandang opportunity. 78. But you know, on that night, we were thinking, ang budget natin dito, mga 30,000 pounds. Siguro mga 60, 75, 80, pwede na yan. Umabot ng 100,000 pounds. Medyo, di ba our idea of bidding yung may ganyan-ganyan. Ito, maririnig mo sa telepono, 30,000 pounds, 40,000 pounds, 50,000 pounds, 55, 60. Hindi pa nga umabot ng 3 minutes Parang nakaka-excited at saka. On the phone, no? This the first time sa pero in person, Pero yung telephone, Ito, you have to submit kasi your name, submit kung anong lot 183, tapos, Mr. Velarde, you're Mr. Velarde, your Murillo Velarde will be next. So, nakagano ka kasi baka matapos ka agad yung kabila Natatapos ka agad yung kabila. Minsan, 2-3 bid lang Siguro, to 170, ilang balikan yun? Hindi lang 10. Hindi lang 10 ang balikan doon. Naririnig mo naman. Medyo, your imagination works when you're bidding via phone. Nung lumagpas na ng 80, 5 million, pag-stop na ba ako? Anyway, birthday pa ng mami ko. Anyway, bibig. Kung panalo tayo, ang budget naman ng mga National Museum, mga 5 million yan Hindi naman bibili yan ng sobra, di ba? Yung lumagpas na ng 5 million, di ko parang pansariling away na. Ang personal na sa tala. Baka sabi ko, baka Chinese, Red China yung nasa kabila, ituloy na lang natin. Or somebody entrepreneurial. Had they held the bidding in Shanghai, ibang presyo na doon. May mga loko-lokong gambler doon or in Macau just to look good sa government nila. Somebody will para silang agent may agent, kausap niya he talks to me and announces it. I don't really hear the other guy. But after the 5 million mark, which I know was the figure that a museum will be at the highest that they will be. Because ituloy na lang natin, baka it may have some implications later on. Talagang baka who knows? Sometimes when you buy, you don't know the real value. But you know that there's a case. And you need some evidence. And what's the value of that for us? 9 in the evening. We were in, I'm hosting a dinner party, Resort World na steakhouse. I've been communicating with the agent, British lady. Pag nandoon ka na kasi, split second you will say, will you get this? You will now try to look forward and say, konting diferensya lang. Umatras ka na. That's one. For example, kasi nandun ka sa 5 million mark, baka 6 lang to or 7 or 8. Umabot ng 12. But I wasn't buying it for myself Parang I was buying it. Alam mo ba yung group? Pinoy tayo group buy. Yung parang gano'n na sabi niya, mukhang na-excite ka doon Sabi ko, baka masyado ka na-excited. But sabi ni Justice Carpio, the best is we have it and we sell it to them. But in my case, alam mo parang there's a true to life movie and there's the part for everybody, a bully for a neighbor, right? There's a case, Philippine case. They already took over our land. Meron tayong soldiers na nandoon sa Spratly na standby lang sila. Then it's owned by a Duke. Sa Harry Potter Castle. I knew it after Alnwick Castle. Kasi I will go there. Afterwards, na nanalo ako, doon ko na search and I forwarded it to his office. Or if I were the author, this could be another story. It's been kept there that you have Chinese government. These authors can just include it. It's been there for 200 years. Ibig sabihin na fold din eh. They have a museum there. The family is a 700-year-old aristocracy. And they are the 4th largest landowner of United Kingdom. Up to this day. Yung 7th generation na siya. In fact, yung elder brother niya namatay, sa kanya napunta. Gano'n naman, no? Because if he knew, London is not the place to do this out. Either in Manila or Hong Kong or Shanghai. Tingnan mo, natupi siya. Dala yan from Manila, print doon. They didn't know the real value, finold lang muna nila for the first 10, 20 years. Punit talaga siya. Ito, mga ganda ng pagka-engrave. Linin na linin yan eh. Original. But they gave me the digital copy. This is the exact digital copy. So I bought na printer para we can print and give this to schools. According to Justice Carpio, they already indicated as one of the evidence. In fact, this is the #1 evidence. Historical. Panakot. Doon I'll be there July. Safe na siya doon. If they didn't give me a clear digital copy, I would have gone last December. 170,000 pounds. When we won, I texted Justice Carpio and everybody was happy na, congratulations. Afterwards, he talked na to National Museum. When he said, Mel, I talked to the National Museum, 2014, hindi na pwede, 2015, gawa na yung baka sa 2016 pa. Iba ng presidente niyan. Then, I said, never mind. Akala niya never mind, hindi ko sabi ko, never mind, you just donate it. Hindi siya na pagdating na, kasi we will get it sa Saudi B, if the tribunal requires, papakita yun doon. And then pagbalik dito, we said we'd like the Senate President and the Speaker, House Speaker Beaumont, whoever would receive it for the National Museum. President, yes, he'll be there. You know how poetic this guy is, Father Murillo Velarde. Pozo de Agua Dulce, fountain of sweet water. Each one has a story. Kasi yung 1744 map, wala tong vignette. Ito lang. Kasi Zamboanga. So ginawa ni Father Murillo, he's really telling a story. He's a scholar. He was witnessing this as a civilization halfway the other side of the world. Ang daming compelling epiphanies to. Each one is an evidence of the civilized life that we had. And you know my personal interest. You know this Noam Chomsky, that scholar who said no culture is superior. Each culture is distinct to the others. Okay? This is proof. Yes. Now we were self-governing, we were self-reliant, we were doing international trade, 1734. There were maps before this, but they were not scientific maps. They were not scaled. This is the first scientific map. Scaled siya. When they arrived, the barangays were already running their affairs by consensus. And women are already considered equal. Sa kanila, during their time, women were chattel. It was only in the 18th and 19th that they were given equal rights. I collect information about maps. I collect information about significance of maps. And I correlate them with the Western view. An example, before Noam Chomsky, this was considered an uncivilized society. Victorian gentility at that time was prevailing. Victorian era, 1730 to 1820. So yung Victorian era, the center of civilization was London, di ba? Nandun yung mga, that's where Jane Austen was, Lord Byron. Sila yung gentility eh. So they thought, ano to, mga illiterate tong mga tao. Sa writings ni Murillo Velarde, ang tingin nila, may civilization pero these are backward people. They didn't change, that was their view of older civilization. But when Noam Chomsky released his doctorate, I think it was his dissertation or writing, na no culture is inferior. Meron palang universal values that are present in any culture. That's why I'm so interested in this. One, love for children. aversion to incest, aversion to summary killing. The killing that is allowed is war and self-defense. Now, fourth, which is something I like, one thing I've really watched, the physiological needs of man create moral values. Okay? For example, during this time, religion and science were inseparable. In fact, Kepler said, I produced my astronomy principle that all the planets revolve around the sun in an elliptical form in service to God. So he was rebutting the papal position on the movement of the planets in service to God. So he was not an atheist. So going back to the point that physiological needs of man create moral values is proven here. Why? Farming is not a solo endeavor. You need people to farm, to collaborate with somebody, with a group. You have that moral value, ability to collaborate, ability to feel for the person, ability to share, have a shared destiny. Claro, we had that kind of shared destiny, which is a mark of a universal moral value. Now, and this is what I like the most. During this time, who was civilized then? They were trading African slaves. We were never trading any slave. That's number one. What is slavery? From Greece to Rome to England up to the US, they were trading. In fact, it's only in the Education versus Brown in the 60s in America that segregation was finally decided. But Lincoln caused a civil war. Is that the civilized world? This is the civilized world. We didn't have slavery. Number two, women. Look at all the writings. Women are chattel. Jane Austen and Elizabeth Rossetti cannot close a contract with publishers. They need their brother to close the. They're property. They're like concubines. Hingan ang tingin sa kanila. But look at our women. Look at our women here. Nagfa-farming. Equal as men. So who's civilized? So the point is, we may not have the comforts, consolation of the so-called civilized life, but we are comfortable. Before they ruined our lives, before they injected the religion on us, we were running our affairs. We were doing international trade. Further down, then you will see some Indian civilizations that are already democratic. They already had democratic ways without the Western forms. For Luneta, I'm proposing a stone etch in front of Rizal. Dapat nandun yung land title natin. And every Filipino says, tayo may-ari dito. Kasi walang mapuntahan ng tao. Kung stone etch, diba some countries, like in Paris, that is, the Chinese, stone etch their map. Hindi masunog-sunog. Ito pa, Manila, Rio de Pasig. Drinowing niya rin. Why? Then what's they saying? Why did he draw that? If you can see the architecture of London and Madrid during that time, they were a mess. They're like Pandakan and And he was trying to show how organized we are here. That time, he was doing it for the Lord, right? Order is part of their ecclesiastic principle. It's a sense of order. And they were trying to impress the king also. Because yung mga conquerors ng Britain are private enterprises. Mga conquerors for Portugal and Spain, they're owned by the kingdom. Kaya mas lumaki ang Britain Yung East British Indies, mga private entities yun One thing good about him, nangalan niya yung invaders. I wanna explain to them, 1734, i-contextualize natin yan about what was happening in the world during that time. Alam mo itong mga Espanyol, kaya they're so bitter. They left Europe. 1300 to 14th century, may Black Death sila, di ba? Hanggang umabot ng later 19th century in Black Death. People just die. So they have an urge talaga to go out. And they're bitter. They don't